What if I told you that somewhere deep within your heartbeat, beneath all the noise, the chaos, the quiet doubts, there burns a flame older than time itself? A flame that doesn't ask permission to shine, that remembers exactly why it came here. Would you stay until the end, just to remember what your soul already knows? Every fire sign, Aries, Leo, Sagittarius, carries an invisible truth, a sacred code of creation written in pure light. And when that light awakens, the world trembles a little, because it remembers too. This is not just a story about astrology. It's a revelation about energy, destiny, and the unshakable faith that you were born for something magnificent. Look around you. Everything you see, the stars, the oceans, the storms, was once only fire. Fire created worlds, birthed elements, shaped existence itself. And within you lives that same divine spark. It's the reason you feel restless when life gets too small, the reason you burn for purpose when others settle for comfort. Because your soul doesn't want peace without passion. It wants the sacred chaos that forges galaxies. But here's the mystery. Why do some people carry that fire and others fear it? Why do some walk through darkness and still glow, while others fade the moment the wind changes? The answer lies in the four eternal truths, that every fire sign carries truths that don't just guide lives, they change the course of humanity itself. Maybe you've always felt misunderstood for wanting more meaning, more freedom, more intensity. That's not rebellion, that's remembrance. Because fire souls don't come here to fit in, they come to awaken. They come to ignite hearts, to challenge the silence, to remind the world that light was never meant to be quiet. So if you're watching this right now, it's not by accident. Something inside you called this message into existence. Maybe you've been tired. Maybe you've been dimming your flame just to make others comfortable. But the universe is whispering, it's time to rise again. Because you were never meant to blend in with the ashes, you were meant to start the fire. In the next moments, we'll travel through each of these sacred truths, one for Aries, one for Leo, one for Sagittarius, and one that belongs to all of them. But before we step into that sacred circle of fire, close your eyes for a moment. Breathe in. Feel the heat inside your chest. That warmth you feel, it's not imagination. It's your reminder that you are light in motion, a living flame of creation itself. If this speaks to your spirit, leave a comment below with the words, "I remember my fire." Because the moment you say it, the universe will begin to move again. Have you ever wondered why some people are born with that unshakable pull toward the unknown, why they cannot sit still, why they feel that time is running faster for them than for anyone else? That, my friend, is the pulse of Aries, the first spark that ever dared to exist. It is not impatience. It is the universe remembering what it feels like to begin again. Aries energy is the divine call that echoes through eternity, saying, "Move, do not wait, create." It is the moment light pierced the darkness for the very first time and said, "I am here." And every Aries carries that memory deep within their soul, as if their very heartbeat were tuned to the rhythm of creation itself. They are the cosmic pioneers, not because they chase attention, but because they chase purpose. They leap when others hesitate, and in doing so, they awaken courage that sleeps in the hearts of everyone around them. To be born under the flame of Aries is to carry both the blessing and the burden of initiation. They walk paths that no one has walked before, lighting the way not through certainty, but through instinct. There is a sacred wildness within them, a force that refuses to be contained by logic or fear. They do not wait for signs, they are the sign. When life feels stagnant, when the world grows heavy, it is their impulse, their daring breath, that reminds humanity that motion itself is holy. But this truth is not about recklessness. It is about trust. the kind that burns quietly beneath the skin, whispering, "You were born to act, not to doubt." Aries carries the original flame of faith, the kind that moves mountains without needing to see what lies beyond them. When others hesitate, Aries steps forward, not because they are fearless, but because their soul knows that beginnings are never safe, yet always sacred. Think of the moment before sunrise, the world still dark, the air waiting, everything silent. That is Aries energy, the breath before light returns. It is the raw, electric certainty that something extraordinary is about to unfold. They do not need proof. They are the proof that faith and fire are the same thing. Through their courage, they remind the world that creation is not a thought, it is an act. So when you feel that restless pull, when something inside you stirs and says, "It's time," know that it is the voice of the first flame calling you back to life. It is Aries energy moving through your veins, asking you to remember, you are not waiting for permission to begin. You are the beginning itself. Have you ever met someone whose presence seems to change the atmosphere of a room? Someone whose laughter feels like sunlight, whose silence still carries warmth. That is Leo energy, in its purest form, the second sacred truth of fire. Leo does not simply exist. Leo illuminates. They are not searching for attention. They are fulfilling a cosmic duty to remind the world what it means to shine from the heart. Leo carries the truth that light itself is holy. It does not need to be justified, compared, or contained. Just as the sun never asks for permission to rise, Leo's essence is a living sermon on authenticity. They are the embodiment of divine confidence, not arrogance, but faith in one's own light. They teach that being seen is not vanity, it is service. Because when a Leo shines, everyone around them remembers that they too are made of light. There is something profoundly spiritual about Leo's courage to express emotion without fear. They feel deeply, love fiercely, and create endlessly. Their hearts are temples of creation, where laughter and vulnerability coexist in divine harmony. The way Leo gives love is not casual. It is radiant, transforming, eternal. Their warmth does not fade when challenged. It grows stronger in darkness, like a star defying the endless night. To understand Leo is to understand divine leadership, not the kind that demands obedience, but the kind that inspires others to rise. A true Leo leads by example, by daring to be honest, by embracing both their brilliance and their flaws. They do not seek followers. They seek mirrors, souls who remember their own power when they stand beside them. Their roar is not an act of pride, but a reminder that voice itself is sacred. When Leo loves, they do so with the entire universe inside their chest. They protect what they cherish, with a devotion that feels almost ancient. Their loyalty is not about control. It is about faith. Faith that love can heal, that kindness can conquer, that every soul carries a spark worth seeing. And that is why their presence feels like sunlight after a storm. It burns away doubt and calls everything back to life. But perhaps Leo's most important lesson is that shining does not mean perfection. Their light is powerful because it comes from imperfection, from learning to keep glowing, even after being misunderstood. Their scars are not signs of weakness. They are proof that fire can survive its own ashes. Leo teaches us that true confidence is not about being untouched by pain. It is about transforming pain into radiance. So if you have ever been told you are too bold, too passionate, too visible, remember this: you are not too much, you are simply luminous. The world may not always understand your brightness, but it will always need it. Your light was never meant to be small. It was meant to lead, to heal, to awaken. That is the divine truth of Leo, the eternal flame that refuses to dim, even when the night feels endless. Tell me, have you ever stood at the edge of something unknown, heart racing, soul trembling, and still felt that quiet voice inside whispering, "Go"? That is Sagittarius energy calling you home. It is the third sacred truth of fire, the truth that freedom is not a destination, but a sacred journey that begins the moment you decide to trust your own spirit more than your fear. Sagittarius is the seeker, the philosopher, the wanderer who understands that life is not meant to be contained within walls or rules. They are not escaping, they are exploring. Their fire is not the kind that destroys, it liberates. Every time Sagittarius follows curiosity, they open a new door in the universe. They teach us that faith is not blind, it is brave. It is walking into the unknown not because you have all the answers, but because you trust that truth will reveal itself along the way. There is something deeply divine about Sagittarius' hunger for meaning. They are the storytellers of the cosmos, the ones who collect wisdom from experience rather than instruction. Their soul burns for expansion, not in a restless way, but in a sacred rhythm that whispers, there is always more to see, to feel, to learn, to love. They live as if the horizon were a promise from the universe, and it always is. When Sagittarius loves, they love with movement, with laughter, with light that never stands still. They are not afraid to question, to challenge, to dream bigger than what seems possible. Their honesty can shake the ground beneath your feet, but it is the kind of truth that frees, not wounds. They remind us that authenticity is the most spiritual form of courage, that the soul cannot evolve while pretending to be small. In moments of chaos, Sagittarius becomes the torch that guides others through uncertainty. They hold the fire of wisdom and optimism, blending intuition with reason, vision with faith. Even when they fall, they rise with a smile that says, everything has meaning, and perhaps that is their greatest gift, to transform life itself into a lesson of joy. Because for Sagittarius, spirituality is not about escaping reality. It is about embracing it with open arms and an unshakable belief that every experience holds divine purpose. They carry an ancient understanding that fear is not an enemy, it is a doorway. The flames of Sagittarius do not avoid the dark. They travel through it, laughing, questioning, expanding, until darkness itself begins to glow. They teach us that the universe is vast because we are meant to explore it, that truth is not a fixed point but a living dance between faith and discovery. So when life asks you to take a leap, when everything feels uncertain and your spirit longs for more, remember this: the fire of Sagittarius burns brightest in motion. It is the call to move beyond fear, to trust that the map is written inside your soul, and that every step into the unknown is a prayer answered in light. There comes a moment in every soul's journey when the light seems to fade, when the road ahead feels uncertain, and the heart begins to question its own strength. Yet even then, somewhere deep inside, a single spark continues to glow. That spark is the sacred fire that unites every Aries, every Leo, every Sagittarius, the eternal flame that refuses to die. It is the fourth truth of fire, the power to turn pain into purpose and darkness into divine light. You see, the fire element is not just about brightness or movement. It is the alchemy of transformation. Fire consumes, yes, but it also purifies. It burns away illusion, fear, and limitation, leaving behind the essence of truth. To carry fire within you is to carry the wisdom of rebirth. You fall, you break, you lose everything you thought defined you, and then, somehow, you rise stronger, clearer, more radiant than before. That is not coincidence. That is sacred design. This is what makes the fire sign so magnetic, so alive. They have walked through their own ashes and discovered that endings are only beginnings wearing different clothes. They know that destruction is not punishment, it is preparation. When the fire comes into your life, it does not arrive to take from you. It arrives to reveal what can no longer stay. It is the universe's way of saying, you are ready for more light, but first, let me clear the space. Every fire soul carries this divine resilience. Aries channels it through courage, leaping before the world tells them they can. Leo carries it through the heart, loving through the ruins, and choosing to shine anyway. Sagittarius expresses it through wisdom, laughing through the unknown and trusting that every detour is destiny in disguise. Together, they embody the sacred truth that light is never lost. It is only waiting to be reborn. To live through fire is to become a living temple of faith. It means knowing that when life falls apart, something sacred is rearranging itself. It means remembering that your scars are not evidence of defeat. They are evidence of survival, of transformation, of evolution. The fire within you does not burn to destroy. It burns to reveal the gold hidden beneath the layers of doubt and fear. When you look back at every moment that tried to break you, you will see the same pattern. Each time, you emerged brighter. That is not because you were unshaken, it is because you remembered. The divine within you remembered its own power. That is what the fire teaches, how to keep faith in the middle of the storm, how to trust that even in darkness, creation is happening. So when the world feels heavy, when it seems like your light is fading, do not fear the flames. They are not your ending, they are your transformation. You were never meant to remain untouched by life. You were meant to be shaped by it, refined by it, illuminated through it. The fire within you is the universe remembering itself through you, turning every shadow into gold. There is a moment, somewhere between silence and awakening, when the heart finally understands why the fire had to burn. It is the instant when you realize that nothing you lost was ever truly gone. It was only being transformed. Every challenge, every tear, every ending was fuel for your becoming. The flames that once frightened you were never enemies. They were sacred teachers, whispering ancient wisdom into your soul. You are light, and light cannot be destroyed. The world needs the fire inside you. Not the polished, perfect kind, but the wild, raw, unapologetic flame that knows how to rise after falling. The universe does not ask you to hide your intensity. It asks you to use it. To turn your passion into purpose, your courage into creation, your wounds into wisdom. Because every time you choose to stand back up, you send a signal to the cosmos that humanity still believes in rebirth. You are not just one person trying to make sense of the world. You are the continuation of stardust that once lit galaxies into being. Your soul remembers what creation feels like, that surge of infinite possibility that lives in your chest when you dare to dream again. The same fire that built worlds now breathes through your spirit. You carry the energy of beginnings, of leadership, of expansion, of transformation. You are living proof that the divine still moves through human hands. Do not be afraid to burn brightly. The world is full of those who have forgotten how to see light, and your glow may feel uncomfortable to them at first. But remember this truth. Light does not ask darkness for permission to shine. It simply shines, and in doing so, it teaches others how to find their own spark. Your journey, your fire, is not selfish. It is sacred service. Every time you follow your intuition, you ignite possibility in others. Maybe you have felt misunderstood, too bold, too emotional, too intense for this world. But the truth is, you are never meant to fit into its comfort. You are meant to raise its vibration. You are the reminder that divine energy is not quiet or passive. It is alive, moving, creating, transforming. You are not here to escape your fire. You are here to embody it, to live it fully, and to let it guide you toward everything that still waits to be born through you. When the night feels long and you begin to doubt your own light, close your eyes and listen. The universe is whispering your name, reminding you that even the stars are reflections of your courage. You are not alone in this journey. Every soul who carries the fire walks beside you, unseen but connected, blazing trails across time. Together, you are the heartbeat of creation, the living proof that love and light will always rise again. So breathe deeply, stand tall, and let your flame be seen. Carry your fire into every conversation, every choice, every dream. Let your life become a constellation of courage, faith, and purpose. And when you walk away from this moment, walk as someone who knows they are infinite, as someone who remembers that to burn brightly is to live truthfully. If this message touched your spirit, if it reminded you of the strength that has always lived within you, keep your journey alive. There are more stories, more awakenings, more sacred truths waiting to meet you. Watch the other videos on this channel. Let the light continue to guide you. And remember, every time you return here, the universe will meet you where your fire begins again.